Hey guys, hi, welcome back once again. My name is Vaishali and today I'd like to talk about living in the now. And quite literally, if only taken in the literal senses, it's probably only infants and children, or rather toddlers, that live in the now. So when we talk of living in the now or being present in the now, what exactly do we mean? Let's try and decipher that for ourselves. And in my understanding, when many of us talk of living in the now or being present in the now, many of us unconsciously think or believe that it would be inconsequential. We unconsciously believe that the now is just a moment that is not connected to every other now, which has happened in the relative past and which will be happening in the relative future as well. It's like assuming that the present second on the clock does not add up or amount to a minute, which further does not accumulate into few minutes, and those few minutes does not turn into an hour, and those hours does not turn into days, and those days into months, the months into years, and the years into decades, and the decades into centuries. It is living with the unconscious assumption that any action of the now will have no ripple effects. Kind of like saying that the climate change or the dent in the ozone layer just happened in the now, like right at this present moment, and then it even goes away in a snap. It's almost like saying that the pollution in the environment, which has resulted in the change in the climate and not in healthier ways, just happened in a snap, and that it'll just go away in a snap. Many times there's an unconscious assumption that there will be no ripple effects of it in the future or the generations that come in the future because of the actions or inactions of the now. It's with the unconscious assumption that whatever I or we choose to do or not do will end or die with me or us. And yet we all also understand the concept of ripple effects or the domino effects, which talks of causes, actions, results, and reactions. Now, not necessarily in the same order all the time, and yet it's all interconnected. The ripple effects cannot be dismissed or even be discarded. That's where we also have the notion, the chip of the old block, or the terminologies of intergenerational or transgenerational. Essentially talking about something that is passed down consciously and more unconsciously from one generation to the next, or absorbed and replayed again more unconsciously by the generations. Now, when we talk of the aspect of being present in the now, how many of us can truly claim that we are fully consciously present with everything, with every aspect of our lives, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's unpleasant, even when it's painfully difficult? How many of us are truly present when our partners explicitly or implicitly or in both ways tell us that they don't love us, respect us, desire us, or want to be with us anymore? How many of us truly believe our partners when they give us a compliment? And more so if we have gotten used to not receiving compliments from them. How many of us are truly present when our kids tell us that they are not liking us at that moment in time, or many a times when they don't even want to walk on our prescribed ideas? When our ideas do not appeal to them and then they question them back, when they don't probably even wish to remain in touch with us. How many of us are truly present in an argument with our in-laws, or are caught in a traffic or by a traffic police, when a house help does not turn up and the work does no longer remain a work but gets into an overload? How many of us are truly present in the now without any memory of the past? How many of us are truly present only in the now without the baggage of the past memory or the associations with those memories? So in order to dive a little deeper into the concept of living in the now and being present in the now, I'd like to revisit the story of the ants and the grasshopper, this time looking at it through a different lens. So while ants are social creatures and the grasshopper is a solitary one, have we ever stopped to ask as to why has that comparison been drawn? Why have humans drawn this comparison between two species who inhabit two different diverse spectrums in our biosphere, in our ecology? Because probably we are one of the very rare species to inhabit both of these spectrums. Equally well or not is another relatively debatable conversation. So humans, much like ants, are social tribal community creatures on some level, and thereby follow and adhere to social norms, follow the leader and the crowd. We tend to follow the leader and the crowd for we want to feel belonged within a group, a tribe, a community, a herd. Plus, being social on some level makes us responsible towards the others, and hopefully others even responsible towards us. At times as a choice and at times as a conforming norm, for we wouldn't want to be treated as an outcast. And the choices towards any of that, conforming or non-conforming to social norms, has its ripple effects, both pleasant and unpleasant. Not only in our personal lives, but in our shared lives with those that we constantly interact with as well. And yet with the grasshopper as a metaphor, a solitary life form, when compared to humans, will not necessarily have that kind of a ripple effect, for it's only responsible for its own actions and their consequences. It necessarily does not have to bother about anyone else or social or intergenerational consequences, for there is no one else, which through one lens might entail it some kind of a leverage to be irresponsible, to live in the now, be present in the now, quite literally enjoying the spring-summer season without a care for the onslaught of the harsh winters, for it is its own solo care, for its interaction almost always is with its own self. And even when the winters finally settled in, he was present with its harsh reality and went to seek help and comfort from the socially conformed, organized, and yet diligent ants. So was he then not mindful of the onslaught of the winters? Maybe he was, and maybe he wasn't. And then again, through a different lens, maybe he was more entitled to live and experience the now as it is, as it was. Maybe for he didn't really need to think of a community, of a family, of others, for he was his own community. That was his solo communion. So maybe the ants and the grasshopper were both experiencing the present, living in the now through various lenses. One more mindful of the inevitable incoming future, of all of the interconnected nows, which if thought of mindfully may have ripple effects traveling on personal, interpersonal and intergenerational levels. And the other more mindful of the literal present moment and his own personal association without any other interpersonal associations. So coming out of the story, ask any entrepreneur, ask any student, ask any farmer, ask any learner, ask any athlete who is both aware of the anticipated and the aspired future and the measures that one needs to take in the every momentary now to have that momentary experience in the future through the cumulative build-up of the momentums, through the cumulative effect of all of the accumulated nows. It's like the tree or the pet, once planted or included in the family, has to be tended to, nurtured to, nourished to, and taken care of on an everyday basis, which also entails that we need to find the appropriate support to provide it with the same in case we wish or desire to go for a vacation. For without that mindful presence in the now, its future would look pretty harsh, nasty, and bleak. So let's revisit the understanding of the concept of the now with more presence and awareness. Let's do it with the understanding that every now is connected to every other now. And the effect of the actions and the choices in the now has ripple effects traveling across generations. Let's try and do that with a little more awareness of ourselves, both on personal, interpersonal and intergenerational levels, and I will see you once again the next week. Till then, stay tuned in. And guys, if you do like the contextual content of my videos, please do like, share and subscribe.